Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah? Good. Okay, Alex, thank you. All right then. So find yourself in child's pose. Knees as wide as your mat, toes touching behind you. Make sure you've got your blocks at the top of the mat. You're going to use them in a minute. But for now, just stretch fingertips forwards, bringing the forehead towards the mat if you can. And just taking a moment just to check in. Just as you always do at the beginning of your day. It's good to have this sort of routine to the day. Just check in and see how you are. Notice where your mind is today. Is it busy? Is it quite calm? Have you got lots of things planned? Just notice. See where it is. And so our theme today is all about changing our perspective. So looking at things from a different point of view, perhaps. This is really helpful sometimes if there's things troubling you or on your mind or bothering you in your life or something that you want to change. Just turning it upside down, looking at it from a different point of view. And that's my intention for my day as well today, and my week actually. So if there's nothing that you want to change in your life, that's great too. Just sometimes changing the way we look at things gives life a different perspective. So we're going to take a different pose, a new pose. I don't think I've done it with you guys yet, so go with it, do your best, and just enjoy. And now start to bring your attention to your breath, breathing in and out through the nostrils. See if you can make a smooth and steady flow of the inhale, filling up the lungs. And then the exhale, emptying anything out, getting rid of that stale air from the night of sleep, just letting go. Breathing in fully, really being here on your mat, just practicing yoga. And exhaling, emptying everything out, really being present with everything that's happening right here and now. Take a few more breaths like this. Really fill up the lungs so that you feel the back body expand, the ribs expand out to the side, maybe the belly rises a little bit against your thighs. And then when you exhale, feel that belly fall inwards, empty everything out. Just two more here, breathing in fully. And exhaling completely. One more breath, breathing in. And exhaling completely. Lovely. Coming all the way up into a tabletop. Opening your eyes. And just sitting back either onto your tucked toes, if this is okay with you, so that you can get a nice stretch in the plantar fascia. Or if that's too much for you, you can bring a block or a pillow in between your bottom and your heels. Or you can simply sit back onto your feet, keeping the feet flat. So we're going to warm up through the upper body. So bring your arms out to cactus, so that the elbows are in line with the shoulders. And open them really nice and wide. And then bring the elbows towards each other and turn the palms to face you. So have the palms facing your face and lift the elbows up. And then I want you to find an energy by pressing those elbows against each other so that you feel a little bit of strength in the chest, but also in the shoulders, in the muscles that support the shoulders, maybe a little bit in the back and the lat muscles. So really squeeze and press those elbows towards each other and lift the elbows up a little bit higher. So really squeezing and pressing the elbows towards each other. I can see a few of you looking to see what I'm doing. Good. Good, holding it here. That's good. And then bring that left elbow on top of the right and take eagle arms. So wrap the forearms around each other, palms come towards each other. If they're not touching, that doesn't matter. And lift the elbows up a little bit higher. Good. And then from here, you're going to bring those hands, slant them over towards the left side. And then bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. So you're getting a little bit of a neck stretch here on the left side. So you won't be doing the same as me. You'll probably be going the opposite way. That's fine. I'm not mirroring you. And then come back. That's it, Kim, yeah. Then come back to center and release the hands. Reach them out wide again. And then again, bring them towards each other, turning the palms to face your face. Squeeze the forearms against each other again, get that energy, lift the elbows up a little bit. So getting a bit of strength here, so just, you know, really sort of using the muscles that we'll be using in this pose you've not done before, this dolphin pose. And then bring the right elbow on top of the left, cross the forearms and bring the hands together. And lift the elbows up. Lovely, and then bring those fingertips, keeping the hands together if you can, towards the right side. And let the left ear come towards the left shoulder. So you'll feel a nice little bit of a stretch in the right side of the neck. Good, breathing in. And breathing out. Hello again, Alex. Come back to center. Good job. Release your hands down, just maybe shake it off. Roll the shoulders up, back and down. And again, inhale, bring the shoulders up, back and down. Just get a bit of movement in them. Up, back and down, one more time. And then move your way to a tabletop position, finding yourself with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And we're going to take a few cat and cows here together. So as you inhale, bring the tailbone up, let the heart sink, look up. And exhale, round the back, look between the knees, press the ground away, find space in the back body. Good, 2 more, breathing in as you come up to this cow position. This feels so nice in the morning, doesn't it? And then breathing out, pressing the ground away, rounding the spine. One more time, inhaling, coming into that lovely cow position, really stretching through the front of the body. And exhaling, rounding and rounding. Good job. Come back to the middle. For those of you that have got blocks, we're going to stretch into the shoulders using the blocks. For those of you that haven't got blocks, I'll show the other option. If you have got blocks, though, have the blocks sort of just in front of you, and they're going to be shoulder width apart. And then you're going to bring your triceps, bottom of your triceps, so just above the bony bit of the elbow, onto the blocks. Keep your knees and your hips in one line and bring your hands behind your head. And then just let yourself sink through. So this is like a puppy pose variation. And stay there and breathe. If it's too much for your shoulders, you can take the blocks away. If you haven't got blocks as well, you're going to take a puppy pose by starting in a tabletop and walk your hands as far forward as you can. And then let your head sink down towards the floor. Let your bottom arch up. So you've got a little bit of a natural back bend. So you've got a little curve in your low back as your chest sinks down. So you'll really feel this in the shoulders. If it's too much in your shoulders to do both the arms, bend the left elbow and just put the left forearm down on the ground and stretch into the right shoulder. And I'll tell you when to change sides. This is quite an intense pose, so just notice where you're feeling it. If you're not feeling it enough, you can move your knees backwards, away from the blocks a little bit. But if you're feeling it too much, just simply move your knees nearer to the blocks. If you've got the one arm variation, switch arms. So stretch the left arm out and bend the right elbow. I can see, I think we've all got both. Take another few breaths, reconnect to that breath and that intention. So we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. It's always good to change it up. Give yourself a challenge. Well done, Sheila, you're doing well. I know it's a really tough pose. 2 more. Inhaling. And exhale. 1 more. Smooth, steady inhale. Good. Long exhale. Wonderful. Come all the way back up. Release the blocks out to the side. And just sit back into your heels. Find yourself in a child's pose again, but with your arms beside you. And just rest your forehead on the mat. And let the shoulders just take a breather a moment. So that's quite intense. So just rest and ease. Just for a moment. Good. Rest over. Come all the way back up. Find yourself in a tabletop position again. Lovely. And from tabletop position, I think we're all here. Step your right foot to the top of the mat and come all the way up into a high lunge. So this is getting into familiar territory again. Hold on with your right foot forwards. Hold on to your left wrist. Lengthen and reach up. So you're holding onto your left wrist with your right hand, really pulling up. And then exhale, go over to the right. But try not to sway too much in your body. Really, you're moving from your side of your left ribs. Really lifting up high and finding spaciousness there. Exhaling. Good. Come back to center. And then bring both hands down and step back to a tabletop. I'm going to do that same thing on the other side. So step the left foot forwards, come all the way up into that low lunge, reaching the arms up. Take a breath in and hold onto that right forearm or wrist with your left hand. Get long, really grow tall out of the right side body. And exhale over towards the left side. Lovely. So really keep breathing into this right side body. Good job. Come back to center. Release the hands and both hands come down. Step back into a tabletop. All right, from here, make sure your hands are under your shoulders, knees are under hips. Tuck your toes, and you're going to find your first downward facing dog. So lift your hips up to the ceiling. Maybe you keep your knees bent, you know the score. Try and keep a long spine rather than finding that you want to stretch the heels back towards the mat and then your spine rounds. So just really keep that sort of length in your spine. Think about getting a straight line all the way from your fingertips up to your tailbone. And your knees might want to stay bent, you might want to pedal your heels, lifting one foot, lifting the other, walking your dog, just easing into the back of the legs. That's a good job. Notice how it feels to be upside down. Notice how things look from this point of view. Good. And then notice where your breath is when you're upside down. Inhaling. And exhale. Everyone look forwards and then come forwards to a plank. And then bring your knees down and lower all the way down onto the mat. Once you're down on your mat, grab your block. So if you have one block, this is good as well. You can use your one block. And come into a Sphinx position with the block in between your hands. So you're holding the block in between your hands like this. And you're in a Sphinx position, so you're on your elbows. Hopefully you can see me. You can't see me there. You're on your elbows. With your elbows directly underneath your shoulders. Good. Keep really pressing into that block so that you feel your the lateral muscles at the back really turning on, okay? You're going to use these muscles a lot when you come into a dolphin pose. From here, tuck your toes and just start to lift your thighs up. Come up onto your knees. So you're in a modified plank, you're on your knees. Really think about hugging the low belly in so that you keep that integrity in your core. You keep strong, you're not dipping in your low back. Either stay here, keep pressing the palms into the block, or tuck your toes and lift your knees up. So options for you. Listen to your body, know what it wants to do, but just think about, you know, we're trying different things, looking at things from a different point of view. Well done. Breathe in. And breathe out. Bring your knees down, lower down with your hips, and then just draw your heart up. Really imagine pulling your elbows towards your hips and your hips towards your elbows so you get a nice length in the front of your body. Good. Breathing in here. And breathing out. Lovely. Release the block to the side, lower down. Bring your arms by your side, palms face down. We're going to come into a locust pose now. So zip your legs up like you've got one leg here. And as you breathe in, start to lift up the chest and the shoulders. Keep the back of the neck long. Keep looking to the top of your mat. And then start to lift your feet up. Maybe your knees come up. Perhaps your thighs are really engaged and you're engaging through your glute muscles, and then lift your arms off the mat as well. So your palms are facing down, the hands are reaching back, the fingertips towards your feet, crown of the head stretching forwards. Take a breath in. Lovely, and exhale, lower down. Hands come underneath your shoulders and press all the way back to a downward facing dog. Find your way back to down dog again, bending one knee, bending the other, just walking your dog, finding a little bit of movement. So just warming up through all these different areas that we'll be using in our dolphin pose. Good. From here, come down onto your knees. One more core stability, because you use that a lot really in dolphin to help you to keep your back safe. So reach your right leg back. And then point the toes towards the floor. Hug the thighs towards each other. And then your left arm comes forwards. So the palm of the left hand is facing inwards. And your hips are still in one line. Good. Keep the back of your neck long and hug the low belly in. Take a breath. And then as you exhale, bring the elbow and knee towards each other. Just tap lightly. Breathe in and lengthen. So try not to lift that back leg. Try and keep a straight line. Exhale, tap. Take a few more of these. Breathing in, lengthening as you reach forward and back. Breathing out, tapping. And again. Breathing in, lengthening. And exhale to tap. One more time. Inhale and lengthen. Good, and then bring that left hand down, right knee down. Take one cat and cow in between sides, just to get our spine a little bit mobile. Breathe in, bring the tailbone up, heart sinks look up. And exhale, press the ground away, round the spine, up between the knees. Lovely. Come back to center, and then take your left foot back. Lift the left leg up, keep the toes pointing towards the floor. Hug the inner thighs towards each other, and then reach the right arm forwards. Find that steadiness. Maybe your gaze is just at the top of the mat. Stretch forward, stretch back, hug the low belly in, breathe in. And exhale, tap the elbow and knee. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and tap. So staying with that smooth, steady breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tap. Really think about hugging the knee and the elbow towards each other, like you're doing a little crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale and tap. This time lengthen and hold. Reaching forward, stretching back, gazing towards the top of the mat. And then bring that right hand down, left knee down. Good job. One cat and cow. Breathe in, bring the heart up, look up. Exhale, round and round, look between the knees. Spaciousness in the back body. And come back to center. Neutral spine, hug the low belly in, tuck the toes under, and lift your hips up to the sky. Find downward facing dog again. Maybe you want to pedal out yet again, or perhaps you want to find some stillness. Reaching your hips up high. Good job. Lovely. Take one more breath. Inhale. And maybe open your mouth and sigh out. Exhale. Lovely. Inhale. Come forwards to a plank. We're just going to warm up one more thing. Bring your knees down and lower all the way down onto the mat. Good, and again, come into a Sphinx. So find that Sphinx pose. You don't need the block in between your hands now. And in Sphinx, this time, interlace your hands. So grab a hold of both of your hands and interlace them. So you've got the hands interlaced with the little fingers on the bottom, thumbs on the top. And press down into the forearms. Okay, from here, start to lift your hips up and come into that low plank. Good, you might want to stay here. Keep pressing the forearms down and feeling that your back muscles are engaged. Next option, you would be to lift your knees up. Good, and everybody listen up here. The next option, you might want to pretend that you're coming into down dog with your forearms down. So just walking your feet forwards towards your elbows a bit, lifting the bottom up. That's it. Press into the forearms. Don't worry about which variation you're at. This is very tough. So go with it. I'm just warming you up because we'll come back to this in a little bit of flow. Good. Keep pressing down for one more breath. And exhale. Start to walk the feet back if you have come up into a dolphin. Bring the knees down, lower the hips down, and then release the hands and draw the heart through, finding nice spaciousness in the front of your body in this Sphinx pose. Lovely. Lower yourself down onto the mat. Hands under shoulders, press back to downward facing dog. Good job, everyone. Take a breath here, breathe in. Open your mouth and sigh it out. And then walk your feet until they're behind your hands, arriving at the top of the mat. Have your feet so that they're hip width apart, and bend your knees as much as you need to. Let your belly and your thighs touch. Relax the neck. Maybe close your eyes a moment. Just see how this feels in your body when you're upside down. You can let your hands be soft, or you can hold on to your opposite elbows. And then open your eyes if they are closed. Just seeing the world from a different perspective, being upside down. Good, and then release your hands if you did have hold of the elbows. And roll up one vertebrae at a time. Come all the way up to standing. And reach the arms all the way out to the side and up to the ceiling when you come standing. Interlace the hands, release the index fingers, ground through the feet and get lifted as you stretch the upper body up, pressing down into the ground, drawing that energy up from the ground. Good. Take a breath in. And exhale, bring the hands down through your heart. Well done. Hands by your side. And we're just going to go through a few sun salutation A's just to get a bit of movement and breath together. And then a short flow to work on our dolphin pose, okay? So do what you can and enjoy it. Let's go. Starting in your mountain pose, Tadasana at the top of your mat. Just take a breath in first. And breathe out. Good. As you inhale, bring the arms all the way up to the sky. Maybe you look up to your fingers. And as you exhale, the arms come out to the sides. Fold forwards, bend the knees if you need to. Uttanasana, forward fold, relax the neck. Inhale, come up halfway so hands can come towards shins or lengthen behind you. Exhale, hands down, step back into a plank. Good, breathe in your plank. And exhale, knees come down and upper body lowers down. Hug the low belly in, come down in one long line. Breathe in, shoulder blades draw back as you lift up into just a little bit of a cobra, nothing too much. Good. Exhale, lower down, tuck the toes and press back to downward facing dog. Maybe through an active child's pose. Coming back into down dog, pausing for a breath. Breathe in. Relax the neck, look behind you. Think about the spine, breathe out. Good job, team. Inhale, look to the top of the mat. And breathe out. Just journey your feet until they're behind your hands and fold. Lovely. Inhale, halfway lift, hand variation of your choice. And exhale, fold forwards. Well done. Press through the feet, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Look up at the palms. Take a gentle standing back bend just to lengthen the front body. And exhale, come back to center, hands to your heart. Do that a couple more times. Breathing in, the arms reach all the way out, up and above. Fantastic. Exhale, fold forwards into Uttanasana. Forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, strengthen the back body. And exhale, both hands plant down, step back into a plank. Breathe in here. Hug the low belly in, exhale, knees come down, elbows stay close to the body as you lower all the way down. Locust pose this time, interlace the hands behind your back. And breathe in, lengthen the heart away from the floor, reach the feet away from the floor, lifting up with the arms away from your low back. Lovely, and breathe out, lower down, hands underneath the shoulders, and press back to downward facing dog. Well done. One full breath together here, breathing in, and breathing out. Feel free to sigh it out anytime you want. Inhale, look to the top of the mat, and breathe out, journey your way there. Gorgeous, everyone. Inhale, halfway lift, straighten the back of your body. Yes, lovely. Exhale, fold. Well done, Carolyn. Round through the feet, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Look up and stretch up, palms touch, standing back bend, just gently, nothing too much. And exhale, hands come to your heart. Good job. And again, inhale, reach the arms up, look up and stretch up. Ground down through the feet, bend the knees, forward folds. Uttanasana, hands release down towards the ground. Breathe in, halfway lift, so nice, smooth, steady movements, nothing rushed. Exhale, hands down, step your legs back to a plank. Good, inhaling your plank, so stay with this breath if you can. Exhale, knees down, elbows hug in, lower all the way down, hug the low belly in. Breathe in, come into a cobra again, so keep the hands lightly on the ground, don't push yourself up too much with your hands. And exhale, lower down, tuck the toes, and find your way to downward facing dog. Well done, everybody, you're doing brilliantly. One full breath together here, breathing in, and breathing out. Next breath in, look to the top of the mat, and exhale, journey your way to the top. Fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, arms lift up behind, palms face down, if you like. Exhale, fold. Pressing through the feet, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Look up and stretch up. Maybe send the hips forwards, the heart open in a standing back bend. And exhale, hands to your heart. Good job. Standing into Tadasana, just take a couple of breaths. Feel the ground underneath your feet. Feel the energy moving up through your body all the way up to the crown of the head. Good. I'm going to move through a little flow. So I'd like you to have your blocks, if you've got them, at the top of your mat. Make sure you've got something to bring the ground up to you. All right? Hopefully you can see me okay. Okay. So let's start into Tadasana, mountain pose. Breathing in, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, fold forwards into Uttanasana. So starting in the same way, inhale, halfway lift, arms reach back or towards your knees. And exhale, hands come down and step back into a plank. So starting in this same way, inhale, pause here. Good, exhale, bring your knees down and lower all the way down onto the mat. Good, finding yourself in a sphinx. And interlace your hands, just like you did in the warm-up. So interlace both those hands. Make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders and the shoulder width apart. Press down into the forearms, really get that energy that you created in the warm-up at the beginning when we were doing those eagle arms. And then start to lift your hips up and come onto your knees. Either stay here or tuck your toes. Come into this forearm plank. Take a breath here. And then if you can, as you exhale, start to walk your feet towards your elbows and lift your hips up into a dolphin. Keep pressing down into the forearms so that you really feel the energy all the way in those back muscles. Good. Remember, you don't have to stay here. You can always come back to a low plank or a low plank on your knees. Otherwise, do your best. Look at things from a different point of view. Try something new. Relax the neck. Just take another breath here, breathing in and breathing out. Walk your feet back so that you pause in this plank, forearm plank. And then bring your knees down, lower your thighs down and come into that Sphinx. Release the hands and then draw your heart upwards, forwards, reaching the elbows as though you want to bring the elbows towards the hips. Feeling a nice spaciousness in the front of the body. Well done. And then lower yourself down, hands under shoulders, and press back through a child's pose. Just briefly pausing there, lengthening the arms forwards, the hips back. And then the next breath in, come through tabletop, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Well done. From downward facing dog, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, bring your knees down. And then step your right foot forwards, reach the arms up. So similar to how we did in the warm-up, finding yourself in this low lunge. Lengthen the arms up and hug the ribs in towards each other. So you've got that engagement in your core. Tuck the back toe underneath. And then lift up that back knee as you press down into the right heel. Really get strong energy through that back leg as you try and straighten it. Good. Try and keep your body upright. If you're struggling with balance, that's okay. That's quite usual. It's all right. Just do your best. Maybe you can walk your front foot to the right a little bit. Give yourself that little bit more sort of width between the spaces between the feet. Good. Otherwise, come with me. Hold on to your left forearm with your right arm. Lengthen up here. And then exhale in a side bend in this high lunge. Over towards the right. Lovely. Breathe in, come back to center. Good job everyone, you're doing brilliantly. And then breathe out, release your hands and bring your hands towards that front thigh and start to lean forwards. If you've got your blocks here in front of you, then you're going to bring your hands towards them. Otherwise, if you haven't got blocks or if you don't need them, hands stay on your front thighs or even at your heart if you don't think you need the blocks. Start to pick up that back foot and come into a warrior three. So you might be here with your blocks supporting you, bringing the ground up in your warrior three. That's fine. You might be here with your hands at your heart, or you might be here with your hands on your thigh. Wherever you are, keep looking just below you. Keep your breath smooth and steady. Standing balances like this really need all our focus, as do a lot of poses where we go upside down. That's why I like to do upside down poses actually, because your mind is really much more present when you're in these sort of movements that we call still poses, not really movements. Asanas that require all your attention to stay balanced and focused. Well done. And then from here, just let yourself come forwards into what's called a standing split. So you're feeling a lot of length in the back of this hamstring. Know you can bend that right knee if you need to. The left leg doesn't need to reach too high. Again, just finding yourself a little bit in this balance, but also being upside down a little bit. Take a breath. Ooh. And then as you exhale, come back up into warrior three. And just step all the way to standing. briefly bend that left knee up, hug it in close to your chest. I know it's a long time on that right leg, you're doing brilliant. And then the left leg comes down. One half sun salutation in between sides. Inhale, reach the arms up. Just to kind of reconnect with our breath. Exhale, fold forwards. Breathe in, halfway lift. Lengthen and strengthen the back body. And exhale to fold. Press through the feet, reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Palms join, standing back bend, hips reach forwards. And exhale, hands to the heart. Good, other side, ready? Inhale, reach the arms up. You're all doing brilliantly. Trying something new. Exhale, fold forwards. Uttanasana. Breathe in, halfway lift. And then as you breathe out, bring your hands down, step back to a plank. Good, hold it here as you breathe in. And as you exhale, your knees come down, hug the elbows close to your body, lower all the way down. Good, and again, finding that Sphinx pose, so elbows under the shoulders. This time, just have your hands, palms face down, and the hands are in line with the elbows. Good, and from here, going to start to lift up your hips, come onto your knees, hug the low belly in, press down into the forearms so that you'll really feel your lat muscles engage here. So the muscles just at the sides, the upper back at the sides. If you want to, tuck your toes, lift the knees up. Good, and from here, coming again into your dolphin pose. So pressing a lot into the forearms and walking your feet inwards so that your hips reach up like a V shape, like a down dog, but on your forearms. Go easy, especially if you're feeling any pinching in your shoulders, go back a step. Okay, there's never a rush. This is something quite new. Developing this sort of strength is what you really need if you want to ever find your way to a headstand or any sort of going upside down in a balance on your arms. So this sort of strength where you're pressing the ground away, lifting the hips up. Notice where your mind's going. Just look at the world differently. Breathe in. And breathe out. Stay strong. One more breath. Inhale. Well done. You're all so strong. Doing well. And exhale. Next breath in. Walk your feet back into a low plank. Bring your knees down. Thighs all with control, and draw your heart up and through. Find a nice Sphinx. Lovely. Let's take the arms out of the equation, or let's get a little bit of stretch actually. Lower down and bring your hands by your sides and interlace them behind you. Let's find a nice locust pose. Inhale, start to lift the hands away from the low back as you lift the low body, the feet and the knees maybe, the upper body. Lengthen the back of the neck. This feels really nice after that. And then exhale, lower down. Hands come underneath your shoulders and press back through an active child's pose all the way to downward facing dog. Lovely. Take a moment in down dog. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. Next breath in, come forwards and bring your knees down into a tabletop. And then step your left foot between your hands, coming into that low lunge as you reach the arms up. Lengthen up through the sides of the waist. I know your shoulders, if they're like mine, are feeling a little bit. So remember, you can always lose the arms for a moment. And then tuck the back toe, press into the left foot a lot, and then start to lift that right knee up, coming into a higher lunge. So try and keep the body in one straight line rather than leaning forward just yet. Think about hugging the low belly in. And then holding on to the right forearm or wrist with your left hand. Exhale as you go over towards the left. Don't worry if you wobble, that's fine. Good. Breathing in, come back to center. Lovely. And then bring the hands down through the heart, either onto the thighs as you lean forwards or onto your blocks, which are going to be in front of you. Or you can have them at heart if you're sort of trying to challenge yourself a little bit maybe. If they're on your blocks, you're going to start to lift up that right leg and come up into your supported warrior three. Hug the inner thighs towards each other here for a moment. Allow yourself to be supported, but you're not leaning too heavily. If you're not supported, that's great too. Really finding almost like a locust in your low back to keep you strong here. Or bringing your hands to your thighs. Lovely. Next breath out. That's really good. Well done. Fold forwards. Lovely, Gwen. Coming into a standing splits. And you can relax your hands down onto the ground, or you can keep them on your blocks. So standing splits, it sounds fancy, but actually all it is just letting your head come down and letting that back leg, that right leg, just go back a little bit further. It doesn't even need to lift very high. Good. Next breath in, come back halfway into that warrior three, Virabhadrasana 3, and come all the way up to standing. Try your best to stay on that left leg as you hug the right knee in, hug it close to your chest. Ooh. Well done. And then the right foot comes down. Oh. One half sun salutation again. Inhale, reach the arms up. Look up and stretch up. And exhale, fold forwards. Breathe in, halfway lift. Just reconnect with that breath. Exhale, fold. Press the ground away, reach the arms all the way up. Look up and stretch up. And then exhale, fold forwards again. We're going to go all the way back down. Make our way down onto the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And plant your hands, maybe bend your knees, step back to a downward facing dog. Good. Pause in your down dog. I know you've been upside down quite a lot. We're going to come into some nice counter work, stretching into the hips, into the back in a moment. If you want to, you can stay in down dog, or you can come to a dolphin from your down dog. Think about keeping your elbows hugging in towards each other so that they're not going out to the sides. So they will actually go inwards, they'll more point down to the ground. And then lower the elbows down onto the ground from your down dog. Just see how this feels to enter this pose from this way. Well done, Jean. You're looking great. Well done, Deborah. Relax the neck, look between your legs, maybe walk your feet a little bit closer to your elbows if you're there. Just notice the difference. One more breath, well done. And then exhale, bring your knees down, relax the feet, and come into a child's pose. Your knees can be close together or apart, and let your arms come to face behind you towards your toes. Let the fronts of the shoulders, the tops of the shoulders just round, everything just relaxing. Find a bit of ease here. If your breath has become a little bit faster, or if you've been holding it, just notice that. And see if you can bring it back to being smooth and steady. Yoga is all about teaching us how we react with our breath and our mind when we're in difficult sort of poses or situations in life. Just to come back to that breath, the one constant. Lovely. Just take a couple more breaths here, breathing in and out. Lovely. Next breath in, come back into a tabletop. We're going to come into some nice hip stretches because we haven't really worked much on your hips. So we're going to find a pigeon, an upright pigeon rather than a supine pigeon. But if your knees don't feel good like it, then you can do this lying on your back. Otherwise, come into a downward facing dog. Take a breath in and look forwards and bring your right knee towards your right wrist. So the knee will be facing the right side of the mat. And then the heel might be quite close to your groin. I'll come a bit closer so you can see me. Yeah. And then look at your left leg. Make sure it's in a nice straight line behind you, and just heel toe that foot back and back and back behind you. Turn to the side so you can see. To get your sort of hips as square as possible. If your bent knee hip is up very high, if you're up like this, pop a little block or a cushion underneath your hip so that you're protecting that knee. And then come forwards and find yourself in a sleeping pigeon. If this is too much on your knees, turn yourself around and lie down and bend both knees before putting your right ankle on top of your left knee and hugging the left knee in. So this is just as good a stretch for your outer hips as the regular pigeon. We say regular pigeon, but you know, they're both doing exactly the same things. So whichever pigeon you've come into, see if you can relax into it. And just be with the pose. So nothing else to do. You've done some quite hard stuff this morning. Just see if you can just allow yourself to breathe into this pose, feeling into the stretch in this right hip. Okay, take 2 more breaths here. Go back to the intention if you did set yourself one at the beginning of the class. Perhaps just to change the way you look at things. The next breath in, start to walk the hands backwards. And then if you've got a block underneath your left hip, you're just going to take that out of the way, lean onto the left hip, and bring the right leg all the way around so that you're going to cross your legs, sit in a cross-legged position with your right shin in front. Good. If this I think this is accessible for all of us. If it's too hard, you can sit up onto a block or a pillow just to give yourself a little bit of lift. We're not going to be here too long though. And if you find you want a bit of deeper stretch, then you can cross shin to shin. This is like a double pigeon, but it's very intense for the hips. So it might not be accessible, especially first thing in the morning. You know, we're usually a bit tighter. So right shin in front of left, and then just walk your hands forwards. You'll feel this a lot more in your right hip. And just keep breathing as you're leaning forwards, reaching forwards with your hands. Find a bit of space. You might not go very far forward, doesn't matter. Just find that ability to ground through both hips. Now for the next breath in, walk your hands back towards your shins. And then tuck your left knee, sort of, so it's your foot's a little bit closer, your heel's closer to your right bottom cheek, and put the right sole of your foot on the outside of your left knee. You're going to come into a twist. If that's a bit difficult for you and you're leaning too much onto the left bottom cheek, just straighten the left leg out, that's fine. Taking a nice seated twist. So bring that, I'm going to keep my left leg out so you can see this variation. Bring your left elbow, wrap it around your right knee, and interlace your hands. Pull the elbows away from each other. Grow really tall when you do this. And then breathe out and look behind you. Take a little bit of a twist from your thoracic spine. If that's not enough for you, you can bring your right fingertips just behind your bottom, and then your left elbow comes on the outside of that right knee. So you've just got a little bit more purchase there to really sort of give yourself a deeper twist. But both ways are equally good. Just know your body, know where it wants to be this morning. Looking good, everybody. Take a breath in. And relax, release, soften through the belly, twisting to look behind you. Good, then come back through to center. Undo your legs and just simply bring both feet to one side, right or left, it doesn't matter. Make your way to a tabletop and downward facing dog. And then we'll do that on the other side. So lifting our hips up. And then we're coming on to the left side, so bring the left knee towards the inside of the left wrist. Or do it lying down. So if you did it lying down, go ahead, lie down, bend both knees and put the left ankle on top of the right knee. Otherwise, if you're upright like this, then reach your right leg back and back, look back behind you. Protect that front knee if that hip's up high off the floor and it's not, your bottom isn't really touching the floor, then always protect that knee. It's never worth doing damage to your knees, is it? And find yourself in a sleeping pigeon. So you can stretch your arms long, bring your forehead to the mat, or you can bring your forehead to a block if it doesn't quite touch the mat. And just let yourself, give way to gravity. Let yourself be held, supported by the earth. And then reconnect to the breath. Just taking a couple more here. Beautiful. And start to walk back. Take the block out from under that left hip if you did have it there. And just lean over onto the left side. Bring that right leg around. And then this time cross your left shin in front of your right. So, and if you did the fire log or the double pigeon, you're going to cross the left ankle on top of the right knee. That's often too much for most people. And then you're going to lean forward so that you feel this even more into this left hip. This is a really nice way to stretch through the left hip. So the shins are sort of parallel to the front of your mat rather than being too close to your body. And walk your hands forwards. Lovely. And just notice if your bottom's lifting up, can you reach the hips backwards a little bit more? Breathing into the space where you feel this the most. Lovely. Next breath in. Walk your hands back towards the shins. Coming into that twist. So you might want to walk your right knee so it's facing forwards a bit more. The right heel's just a little bit away from the bottom cheek of the left side. And then your left foot's on the outside of the right knee. Taking that twist by wrapping the right elbow around the knee, interlacing the hands and pulling the elbows away from each other to grow tall. And as you breathe out, you're softening through your belly and you're twisting from the thoracic spine. And don't forget, if you straightened that left leg, you're going to do the same with your right. So doing everything exactly the same as you did it on the other side to get that twist. If you want to deepen your twist, remember, left hand behind, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. So moving your spine, as we were saying last week, all these different ways that it can move is really, really good for healthy mobility. And that spine healthy. Lovely. Come all the way back to center. Uncross the legs. Bend the knees. Make sure you've got a block next to you. And lower yourself all the way down onto your back. Good. You're going to come into some finishing poses. So because we've done quite a lot of forearm balance strength and things, it's quite nice to take a little bit of a back bend. So you're going to and get the weight off of the shoulders. So bring the feet so that they're hip width apart, bend the knees. And then you're going to have the block next to you, not use it quite at the moment. Press down into the feet and lift the hips up, just for a bridge pose, not supported at the moment. So you're lifting up from the low back, all the way to the middle back, until you're on the back of the shoulder blades. And then either keep your arms out to the side or bring one shoulder blade underneath you and then the other shoulder blade underneath you and interlace the hands. This gives you a little bit more height and lift. So as you press the forearms down, you're lifting up through the hips, pressing down into the feet. Imagine you've got a block in between your thighs. I know we've done this a few times. And sort of really lengthen all the way from the hips towards the knees, grounding into the big toe mound, getting a little bit higher, finding a little bit of strength in this back bend, a bit of openness in the chest, a bit of openness in the hip flexors. Breathing in and breathing out. One more breath. Breathing in, press into the feet, lift a little bit higher. And then if you've got the hands interlaced underneath, just release them and lower down the upper back, middle back, low back. And come down to the bottom. Grab a hold of the block. Press your feet into the mat. And then again, lift your hips up, but this time put the block on its lowest level underneath your hips. So that it's underneath the sacrum, the flat bit at the bottom of the spine, not under the sort of middle of your back. And then bend one knee into your chest and the other knee into your chest, and lift both your feet up to the sky. So a bit of legs up the wall, a little bit of, again, upside down, looking at things from a different point of view. Let the arms come out to the side. Hopefully you feel supported enough. If you don't, just adjust your block so you do. And just take about 8 slow, deep breaths here, breathing in and out through the nose if you can. So just as you do at the beginning of the class, check in, see how you feel. How's your body feeling now? How is your mind feeling? And how is the breath moving in and out? Just taking a few more breaths here. Quote about change and seeing things from a different perspective. If you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, then change the way you think about it. So changing your perspective. And Gandhi said, you must be the change that you want to see in the world. You must be the change that you want to see in the world. So just looking at things from different points of view sometimes helps us to do that. And when you're ready, bend both knees, bring the soles of the feet onto the mat, lift your bottom up and take the block out from underneath and lower down. Just hug your knees into your chest a moment, wrap your arms around the shins, maybe rock your spine from left to right, just feel that little bit of gentle massage in your low spine. Take a big breath in. And maybe open your mouth, sigh it out, let go of your legs, let them come to the end of the mat. Let the feet just relax outwards, the palms face up, and find your Shavasana. So find this space to be just a little bit of stillness, with nothing to do, just for a couple of minutes. And see if you can maybe change your perspective on the way you look at things, just as I'm going to. There's something that you need to change. Just looking at it from a different point of view. I'm going to leave you here again in your Shavasana. Asana. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you all soon. Have a lovely Sunday. Namaste.